is Anne. She loves weed and candy. She's chill and she's cool with whatever. Let's welcome her to the stage, Anne Fuchs.
Before I start my set, I just want to tell you I'm sorry because my friend Carly told me about this and she's like, you want to do a comedy set for our shelter? And so I was thinking little kids and puppies, and so if you want a little saucier set, you'll have to look on my website, my YouTube page. I want to just say shout out to Shelter from the Storm. I really just wanted to hear you cheer in case I bomb. So I've never really been an animal person. I didn't grow up with animals. In fact, I would make fun of my friends that had animals because they'd be like, who's a good boy? I love you, come to mama. And I just didn't really get it. And then due to a breakup, I received my first ever pet, a pug named Lola. Aww. This way. Lola's now 11, and I don't know how she does it, but she makes ugly look so darn cute. She reminds me of a tough old trucker broad. She's been through some stuff. And she's torn her ACL twice. I didn't even know dogs had ACLs, but thousands of dollars later, I now know. She's down to one eyeball and about 10 teeth. And she's currently growing a baseball-sized cyst on her side, so she's looking pretty rough, but still cute and bossy. She charges me a carrot tax every time I open my fridge. Our old fridge, the fridge was on the bottom, freezer on the top, and I'd open the door and she would climb into the fridge until I gave her a carrot. And now that the fridge is on top, she just gives me the stink eye and barks at me until I give her one. The cool thing about pugs, though, is they can never sneak up on you because you can hear them breathing a mile away. So after about 4 years of having Lola, I was like, you know, I feel bad, you're home all alone, maybe I should get you a playmate. And my cousin in Arizona, his dog just had puppies, and so I was like, man, if you live closer, I'd totally get one of those dogs. And he's like, yeah, my mom's driving up in a couple months, she'll drop it off for you. So now I have 2 dogs. Yeah. So my second dog, he's a heeler mix, his name's Smokey. Smokey is very sweet and gentle unless you are a delivery driver, a person on a bike, someone walking past the yard, a leaf. But Lola was not excited about my decision to bring Smokey home. A few years ago, I took my dogs on a 6-month-long road trip, and we happened to be in San Antonio, and we went to a dog park, and Lola found the only mud puddle, emphasis on mud. She just dove right in and was just happy as can be, and she attracted several people that were taking pictures and videos and expressing their sympathy to me for the mess I'd soon have to clean up. Her entire body, except for the very top of her head, was in mud. About a month later, we made our way to New Orleans, and the place we were staying at had a small little fenced-in yard, but good enough for us. So I'm out there with the dogs, I'm looking around, and I see a whole bunch of random chickens, and apparently in New Orleans there's just wild chickens all over the streets. And then I also noticed that the house was on stilts. And so the dogs could easily get out, and I was like, man, I really hope they don't figure this out. And just as I was thinking that, Lola went chasing after the chickens. So then I went chasing after Lola, and soon Smokey came chasing after both of us. I was able to get Smokey, and I carried him back, and Lola was following us, but every time I turned around, she would turn the other way and run. So I was like, all right, I just need to get Smokey in the house, and then I can deal with Lola. So I come out, and there's like 5 or 6 people all trying to get Lola, and she had 2 eyes at that time, so she was much quicker. And we couldn't figure out how to get her to come inside until jealousy became my secret weapon. All I had to do was give Smokey a Cheeto and Lola came running. So a few years ago, I bought a house for my dogs, had a nice yard, everything is going great, until I discovered I have a mouse problem, and I hate mice. Dead or alive, like I just can't do it, and so after much consideration, the only solution that I could come up with was to burn my house down. My friends, however, talked me into thinking about getting a cat. The problem is cats really aren't my jam. When I was like 6, we briefly had a cat, and he peed in my backpack. I got a new backpack, peed in that one too. And then in my 20s, I was staying at my friend's house, and I woke up suffocating, and her cat was sleeping on my face. But I decided my uneasiness about cats outweighed my hatred for mice. So I was like, all right, I'll get a cat. However, I needed my cat to understand its purpose, and so I needed to give him a killer name. So I decided to call him Jeffrey Dahmer. Or Dom for short. Dom soon won me over. He was so sweet and cuddly, but then I was nervous that he wasn't going to be up for the task at hand. But with some training and a lot of conversation, he has turned into a stone-cold killer. He has 3 kills under his belt, and he currently attacks Smokey at every chance he can. And in a year's time, I'm very proud of his progress. I'm just waiting for the day that he brings me a present. The dynamic of my animals is kind of humorous to me because Lola hates her brothers, and Dom doesn't dare come on the bed unless Lola's snoring, because otherwise she'll bite him or gum him since she doesn't have any teeth. And Smokey enjoys having someone to wrestle with and another someone to eat their food. About a couple weeks ago, I got an air conditioner, central air, and so I closed all the windows, and I noticed that Dom was really mad at me. He wouldn't even come to bed for like a whole week. And I was really concerned about this, so I asked the people at the vet, I was like, what do I do to make my cat not hate me anymore? And their response was, turn off the AC and open the windows back up. The other day, Dom was staring at me, just real judgy, like only a cat can give you that judgy look, you know? And then, so he's just staring at me, and I was like, you know what, man? I used to be cool. And he's looking at me, he's like, yeah, right, when? And I was like, in high school, man, I was cool in high school. He just kept staring at me like, yeah, right, no, you weren't. I said, all right, I was pretty cool in my 20s. I was cool in my 20s. He starts licking his paw, not interested in anything that I'm saying, and I was like, fine, I was pretty all right in my 30s. And it was at that moment that I realized I had become a crazy animal person like all of my friends. In the loving words of Bob Barker, something about pet population, but spay and neuter your pets. Adopt, don't shop. Thank you very much.